Welcome back to a Game of Fangs and Thrones. My name's Hannah, and this is my April monthly book haul. Now, I have about 18 books, and I have tried to split them into age range category, but as we know, I'm not very good at that, because I keep YA and adult to me is a bit of a crossover anyway. So I will just dive right in. We'll start with the 3 books that I got from subscription services this month. One is Book Box Club, 2 are from Fairy Loot. So the Book Box book was Hotel Magnifique by Emily J. Taylor, and this is beautifully purple, and it seems to follow 17-year-old Jenny, who hatches a plan to secure jobs for herself and her younger sister in the legendary Hotel Magnifique, a magical world of golden ceilings, enchanting soirees and fountains flowing with champagne. But it seems that luck is on their side, and with a stroke of luminous ink on paper, the sisters are swept into this world of opulence and adventure. But Jenny soon realises that things aren't all they appear. She sees the sinister cracks in the hotel's facade. And who is the shadowy maitre who presides over the Magnifique? I think my French is going to get a bit of a workout in that one. Then we have the 2 books from Fairy Loot. We have An Arrow to the Moon by Emily X.R. Pan. If you've seen my Medieval-a-thon TBR, you'll know that I'm hoping to read this for one of the prompts. And this follows a hunter who's an excellent shot but is aimless in every other aspect of his life. And then we follow Luna, who seems to be under immense pressure from her parents, and it is a spellbinding reinterpretation of Romeo and Juliet filled with romance, magic and Chinese mythology, and it helps that it's all arrow related. I mean, our archer is called Hunter. It gives me Cupid vibes. I don't know. Then we have Blood Scion? I can never say that. By Deborah Fillet. This follows a Sloane who is 15 and she can incinerate anybody at will. She's a Scion? I can't say that word. Descendant of the ancient Orisha gods, but under the Lucis. Her identity means death. Her mother's disappeared trying to hide Sloane's ability. Sloane is also hiding, but she's conscripted into the army, and it goes from there. Then we have 2, I'm categorising these as YA, I could be wrong, but we have a volume 3 of Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. This is just a cute webcomic where boy meets boy, following Nick and Charlie. And then we have Casey McQuiston's Red, White and Royal Blue. And we have Alex, who is the son of the President of the United States, and Prince Henry. And they seem to be stuck in the tabloids get a hold of their enemies, and they have to the tabloids get a hold of a photo involving an altercation between Alex and Prince Henry, so they end up being stuck together to improve relations, and I believe it works a little too well because Alex and Henry end up falling in love. You can tell I don't know much about these books. But then we have a stack of middle grade, because I am very into middle grade at the moment. We have The Thief Who Sandstorms by Sophie Anderson. Admittedly, I know nothing about this. It's Sophie Anderson. I was going to pick it up. But this follows Lynette, who wishes she could sing magic. Magic is forbidden, and she's been banished with her father to the mournful swamp. She misses her friends and dreams of reuniting with them. Her father is captured for taking a precious jewel, so Lynette has to go find him. Sophie Anderson's books are always beautiful. Then we have The Last Firefox by Lee Newberry. This follows Charlie, who's being bullied and going through some changes at home. But then he's made guardian of a fairy fox cub called Cadno. And Cadno isn't just any fox, he's a firefox. Only one of his kind. So Charlie has to protect Cadno. Then we have an avalanche of books. But we have Elle McNichol's Like a Charm. This is her fantasy debut and the first in a duology, following Ramya, who lives in Edinburgh, and she's the only person who can see these magical creatures. So, Elle wrote Like a Spark. What's it called? I'm not sure what else A Kind of Spark. But this one follows Ramya, who is dyspraxic. And if you didn't know, I'm also dyspraxic, so it'd be interesting to see how my condition is affecting Ramya, who seems to be a bit of an artist. I don't know why, but she gives me an artist's vibe. Then we have The Last Bear by Hannah Gold. I don't really know much about this, and I don't want to know much going in because I think it's going to make me cry. But let's have a quick look. Okay, so April's father is a bit of an researcher. He tells her that there's no polar bears left on their island, but they end up going out anyway, and April seems to find the bear. So it's a journey to save the bear and maybe April herself. Oh, this is so pretty. And it has French flaps. Okay, French flaps. And then we have Murder Most Unladylike by Robin Stevens. I'm thinking this is a bit of a cosy mystery for kids. And following Daisy and Hazel, they set up a secret detective agency for deep scruffy girls. But Miss Bell seems to be murdered, and when she and Daisy return, Hazel discovers the body, and when she and Daisy return, the body has disappeared, so they have to prove that something happened in the first place and then solve it. And then we have my adult stack right here. So we have Witherward, why can't I talk? By Hannah Matthewson. This has been crying at me for ages. So this is Welcome to the Witherward, and to a London that is not quite like our own. Here it's summertime in February. The underground is a cavern of wonders and magic fills the streets. This London is a city divided, split between 6 magical factions, each with their own extraordinary talents. And the alpha of the changelings, Gideon Ravenswood, has gone rogue. So Ilsa is a shape-shifting changeling who spent the first 17 years of her life marooned in the wrong London. She's scratched out living in the as a stage magician's assistant, and then she's dragged through a portal into the Witherwood, and she finally feels like she's home. But that home is on the brink of a civil war, so Ilsa has to survive using everything she's learned to survive. Then we have Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Don't really need to tell you anything about this one. It's Patroclus and Achilles' friendship, and I've heard it's going to be a bit of a tearjerker. And we have Alice by Christina Henry. Again, I don't think I need to talk about this one too much, but this is Christina Henry's take on Alice in Wonderland, and this is the start of a series. And to be honest, this was the Christina Henry that I've had my eye on for a while, because I really enjoy Alice in Wonderland. So, yeah. And then we have, and this title is brilliant, Mrs. Death by Selena Godin. And all I know about this one is that it is going to make me laugh. The disclaimer: this book contains dead people. What more do I need to tell you? So Mrs. Death's had enough. She's exhausted by her job and wants to talk to someone. So she meets Wolf, who is a young writer, and they end up getting friendship through that, I believe. Book that needs no introduction, Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Yes, I found a new bookshop. No, I don't care. Parties in the 80s, big summer party that goes wrong. My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is following Vanessa, who was 15 years old when she first had sex with her English teacher. Now that teacher has been accused of sexual abuse by another former student, and a journalist has come to Vanessa asking for her story. But Vanessa and the teacher Jacob weren't in an abusive relationship. What they had was love. So I've heard that this is a hard book to read, but necessary, because it looks at how people cope with what has been done to them in the past. We have Velvet Was the Night by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Mexico in the 70s. It's dangerous even for mate, a secretary who spends her life seeking romance found in cheap comic books and ignoring the protests that are happening. Her next door neighbour disappears, and mate finds herself searching for that woman. But then we also follow Elvis, who is a goon with a passion for rock and roll, who knows more about kidney smashing than intrigue. And my camera is going to die, so we also have Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne.